you go on the I Am Serious site, you'll see teacher-ready PowerPoints, handouts, homeworks that are 2 clicks away that you could send to your secretary. You could teach this tomorrow. It's made for people like yourselves who are interested, who want to teach it, who just need those supports that are there. We assume that you can walk and chew gum and do your normal great work, and the materials are there. There's a touchscreen exercise by the BBC that allows your students to take, it's almost like the old game to, what was the Pony Express game to get out the country. What was that called? Yeah, okay, the Oregon Trail. It's similar to that. They have one that goes up to Europe. Now, again, we don't go into, are these Syrians terrorists? My hunch is that ISIS knew exactly what it was doing by having one of those attackers have a Syrian passport. They knew it would kill everything that happened. I have no evidence to support that, just watching the situation closely for the past few years. The beauty about this program is that you don't have to go into that debate. It's just one-on-one care for those people that will hopefully culminate in your students taking action, and there is a student toolkit. And the torches that you are passing to your students, and they in turn will pass to people that haven't been born yet. Personally, I'm fortunate to have a teacher in my life that's one of my close friends that's sitting in the front row that was one of the founding teachers 31 years ago of the Holocaust Resource Center. Before Schindler's List and before a lot of the other materials that came out, at Amherst High School, Dr. Reed Taylor was reaching out to students on the importance of their actions and this powerful history. And to introduce our next speaker, I'd like to invite Reed to come up. And Reed, thank you today for allowing us to stand on your shoulders. Yes, we'll get him hooked up while you're talking.
Oh, you're getting hooked up.
Great. All right, we're all yours.
Well, believe it or not, the most touching thing about what Drew just said was that I was his teacher, because he wasn't in my classroom. But he and I have, and I want to call it a mutual mentorship. And it's just a beautiful thing that each of us has grown by listening in on and being partners in a number of projects. And so the project that I represent today is to bring before you the witness of a survivor of a refugee experience that it blows my mind every time I hear it. I've heard him make this presentation during this series of visits 7 or 8 times already. And I don't want to steal any of his thunder, but Deng Jongkuch has a remarkable history, and you're going to hear that. You're going to see that with the PowerPoint. You're going to see some images, a few from actually where he was and when he was there. And you're getting a little bit of map work, a few statistics, and I know that you'll pay attention to those things. And all of that, I was thinking as I sat here that what I want to say is there's a huge piece about Deng that is history, his story. But that's not the whole picture. The man that you're going to have before you today has another H about him. And he is very skilled in sharing that. Not skilled, that's not the right word. He's unthreatened. He's willing to share, and that's heart. And so I hope that you will not only listen for the history, but your heart will listen for his heart, because he has found mine, and I think he will leave Western New York with a piece of the hearts of a lot of students and teachers. I present to you Deng Jongkuch.
Thank you.
Wow. Let me say here, I'm very unfortunate that I will be presenting after a lunch. Some of your bodies are kind of like right now. So it give me kind of more to keep you alive, not to keep you sleeping. So let me present a short clip of a movie that they made about a year ago. Some of you may watch this movie, The Go Lie, and I will go into my presentation.
This is called ice. This is what winter in America feels like.
Our names are on that list.
Yes, hello, this is Carrie. Pick up who? I'm just supposed to help them find jobs.
You must be the guys from Somalia, Senegal.
Sudan.
Did your luggage come down the chute? Great.
Where is your husband?
No, I'm not married. I provide for myself.
Your survival skills are very impressive.
Thanks. I'll call you tomorrow morning and we'll start the job hunt. I need your help.
Are there any dangerous animals in this area?
Such as?
Lions.
No, there's no lions here. You're safe. What's their story, anyway?
I'm not sure. They seem pretty traumatized.
Made my way to the borderline.
I had 34 brothers and sisters, and they all died but one.
And she need to be here with us.
You don't have an appointment.
Who do I have to screw around here to see an immigration supervisor?
Me.
Thanks, Cupcake.
That's gonna be a problem. All flights from the Kakuma refugee camp have been stopped.
Since 9/11, the program here is stopped indefinitely.
She's a child refugee of war.
You sure you're ready to take this on?
Definitely.
You're being asked to make choices no one should have to make.
I don't think they're gonna make it if they're not together.
I will pray for you, ERD.
ERD?
It is a special name for you. It means great white cow.
Well, it's better than a lot of things I've been called.
Holy crap! You can't just break into somebody's house!
There is a reason you do not have a husband.
Okay, thank you so much.
I was born in South Sudan, in a rural area. My mom and my dad, they don't know how to read and write. So we were not really aware about what is going on in the country until 1987. The war, the first war has been going, the second war has been going on since 1983. That's the second war. So it was going on between the rebels, who were our people in the south, and the government of Sudan. And the president actually now is indicted. It was war crime. So the war has been going on for a quite long time, because my people in the south, they were demanding their rights. The oil is in the south. The government take the oil, sell it, and use the money to basically develop what is the center of the government, which was Khartoum. They built a school, clinics, good roads, while in the countryside in the south, where the oil come from, basically there was nothing. And the people in the south began to demand, we need hospital, we need a school too. It was not going through. And then they introduced what they call Sharia law. They want the government to be ruled by Islamic kind of rules. And not everybody is Muslim in Sudan. There are Christian, most of the people in the south are Christian, and some of them, they worship their own African tradition. And they don't want to give up that. And the idea that everybody has to be a Muslim, it didn't sit well with people in the south. In Darfur also, they have the same problem, even though they are Muslim. They have economic injustice. That was the war in Darfur. It was because of the economy. So the war has been going on for a quite while, and then it becomes so bad. Our people who were fighting the government, the rebels, begin to be defeated. They were overcome by the government in towns, and then they retreat to the villages where they can come and hide and reorganize. The government of Sudan was following them wherever they go. And then wherever they find them, they find the village, they burn whatever they can find, burn the houses, take cattle. They send some militias from the northern part, attack the villages along the border, takes cows, and abducted people, young children, and forced them to be wives and slaves in their houses in a rural area in the northern Sudan. So it becomes so brutal. Every village they pass through, they do horrible things. And then it reached into my village in 1987. 1987, it came while people were busy. There was no a clue there was something coming. People were planting and taking care of their animals. So they attacked the village, and most of the people fled the village. They went into the bush to hide from the army. So we went there. At that point, I lost my family. I didn't know where they ran to, and other kids and other families too. It was a chaotic kind of thing. So we stay in the bush. The rebels, who were our people, they came and say, now you cannot go back to the village. It's unsafe. What you need to do, you need to go to Ethiopia for a refugee camp. So they organized and they say, here is the road, and they led us to Ethiopia in 1987. It was not an organized kind of people taking care of one another. Thousands of people. There were about 35,000 when we reached Ethiopia. There were 35,000 what they call unaccompanied minors. But there were huge other families with their children. So when we arrived there, they select out those who doesn't have families, the children, and then they put us in a different group. And then the girls, they post them into other families so that they take care of the girls. So we stayed there in a refugee camp from 1987 to 1991. And here is my village. We walk to Ethiopia. For me, it took about maybe 3 to 4 or 5 weeks. But for those who left from as far as this area, it took them a couple of months, maybe 6 or 5 months. And from those who left from this area, going to Ethiopia, it took a long time. So we arrived in Ethiopia, in the camp. We stayed there for about maybe 4 or 5 weeks. The United Nations in New York were debating whether these thousands of refugees are actually refugees, whether these children are refugees or are the soldiers or rebels. So the debate for a couple of months, while they were debating in a nice building in New York, here there was no help for medication, there was no food, a lot of children become malnourished, and they die. No blanket, no nothing. After 4 weeks or 5 weeks, they concluded that, oh, these are children, and we need to give them humanitarian aid. So they sent in food, blanket, set up clinics. So we stayed there for 4 years. Ethiopian government was fighting itself. They have their own rebels. That was 1991. And government of Sudan was supporting the Ethiopian rebels at that time. And government of Ethiopia was supporting our rebels from the south. And that was during the end of Cold War. So the United States was supporting the Ethiopian rebels because they don't like the president at that time, who was a communist. So by the help of Sudan and the United States, the rebels of Ethiopia took over the government. When they took over the government, they literally invited their friends from Sudan, come down at the border and attack our camp here in this place. So we have to run away and come to this place and come along this river for about a week, because we try to organize how to cross the river. Some people doesn't know how to swim. Some people cross the river. But what happened, the government came and attacked us again here on the bank of the river. A lot of people drowned in the river. Some of them were carried away by the currents, crocodiles. Some of the kids were eaten by crocodiles. So a lot of children lost their life. Those of us who survived managed to come to this place called Pachala. We stayed there. The UN didn't come actually, it was International Red Cross. They came with plane and dropped food, beans. They drop them and we go and collect them and eat them because they cannot land. But while we were there, the Sudan government learned that we are in this location. And they cannot cross very easily because they have their vehicle and military tanks, so it took them a while to cross the place. But during that time, they sent in helicopters. You have seen some of in the clips. And they bombed the camp. They bombed the camp every single day. So when we were there, when you hear a sound of a plane, any plane, you go for hiding. When it's food from Red Cross, we go and collect the food. When it's bomb, sometimes you go and collect the bodies of your friends for burial. So, but we didn't know where to go. Our people were rebel, they were nowhere to be seen to help us. So after about 6 or 5 months, the rebel managed to cross the river, and they attack us here again at this place. And that was very, very, very chaotic move. We walk, we keep walking, come to the rebel control area here. They say, keep walking, go that direction. It took from 1991 to 1992. It was like a year of constant moving from place to place. A lot of people lost their life, either because they cannot walk, their foot were hurting, or either because they were so malnourished, or they have malaria, all kind of things you can find. Or they are abducted by the rebel to go and fight on their behalf. So we managed to come to a refugee camp in northern Kenya. When we came to the refugee camp in northern Kenya, so we stayed there. The UN came in, and then they did the head count to see how many children arrived. These were the same people who were in Ethiopia with us. The difference was they have plane to fly away, and we have to walk. So when it's safe for them, they came to the camp and count how many children make it. Out of about 35,000 initially, they find that 16,000 has arrived in northern Kenya. About half of the people lost their life. Half of the children lost their life. Here is a clinic. Here is a wood, and around it is grass, and these are bunches of trees that you used to, and these are blankets given to us during that time. I didn't take this picture, but I remember one of my cousins was admitted over there because he has measles. He got measles. He's now in Boston. So we went there every morning to visit him. Here is, believe it or not, this is a place for sleeping. These are branches of tree put together, and here at the back there is a guy with with a plastic sheet used to cover the branches, and that's where we used to sleep in Kenya. So, yeah, this is, believe it or not, this is the camp back there, and I think this is a team of soccer players. We used to play soccer when we were in the refugee camp, not like a real soccer ball. We took like socks, put them together, and make them tight, and we kick them. If you've been to another third world country, you probably see that. So, Kakuma refugee camp in northern Kenya is now is probably the largest refugee camp in East Africa, maybe in the whole of Africa. I went there in 2011, and there were about 150,000 to 180,000 refugees, all from these countries, especially a lot of people from Sudan. So we arrived there, we stay in the camp, the UN brought food. I started my education in the camp. My first grade over there. The camp, the real life of the camp, we were given one meal. That's corn, beans, cooking oil, and cooking and salt, table salt. That's it. For 9 years, the food was rationed to be for 14 days. If you eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, it finished within a week or 5 days. So what we did, most of the people did, the group yourself into a group of 5 or 6 or whatever number, you put your food together, and we decide to eat one meal a day. Like in the afternoon, we will eat and not eat until next day for all those 9 years. But we begin to go to school also. I started my first grade in Ethiopia until 4th grade. When I came to Kenya, I started at 3rd grade. The classes were under a tree. It was not like the classes you teach. So the teacher will let us sit in a circle, and then if it is alphabet, say A, B, C, D on the sand, and the teacher will say, this is right, this is wrong, you have to spell this way, until 4th grade, till 5th grade. When we went to high school, and then after that, the UN put up the building. They put up the buildings, they brought some books, but they were not enough. 10 students share one math book. So 10, you are given one math, one science, one social studies, and that's it. So when it's your turn, for math, you make sure you read as much as you can get, because there was no library, there was no internet to go and do your research. It was a school. I appreciate it because it prepared me when I came here, because math in refugee camp probably the same was math here, but who is delivering it maybe is the different. So I took advantage of that, and I finished my high school in Kenya. I finished my high school, but 9 years in one place, eating the same food, it became a little bit okay, because we don't know there's nothing better than that. We become used to it. On weekend, we go for dancing. Sunday and Saturday, especially Sunday, we go for dancing. Sunday, we go for church. So these are 2 days. And we begin to grow to be young men too. We're looking after girls in the camp. And when you go for dancing, this is where you met them, you know. So it was a little bit okay. Then the U.S. government, I don't know, it was not the U.S. government, some group of people who have been informed about the life of refugees in South Sudan and in Ethiopia, they say these children has been in a refugee camp for 14 years. And it looks like the war in South Sudan is not ending soon. What can we do with them? How can we help them? So the better option was to bring us here, as like Syrian refugees and other refugees were struggling to come here. So the US Congress say, okay, we will bring them. They were convinced by the UN to come to bring us here. So the US immigration sent their lawyers to the camp, their staff to the camp, to the refugee camp, and they established how they can bring you here. The first was interviews to screen how as much as they can bring and to establish paperwork. And one of the first interviews was to establish your identity, give you whatever the birthday. So they assigned me January 1st, 1981 as my birthday. I may be older than that, I may be younger than that, but when some people ask me, how old are you? I have to decide. I say, probably 17. And sometimes I say sometimes 65 or 48. Whatever I can say, so that they can make their own judgment. But if you ask me about my immigration age, maybe 1981, that's their sign. But what was funny, they gave everybody who came to the US about 4,000 January 1st. But the years kind of different, based on their own judgment. So they gave me that age, and then the next interview, medical checkup, to see whether you have a strange disease that you cannot bring here. They don't give you the results, so you never know what was, what was that, but they know it. So, and then another interview was your background check. How can you do a background check for somebody in a refugee camp? Somebody who doesn't have even a birthday. How can you do that? But they think they know it. So it was set up questions. Have you used the drugs before? Yeah, some of the boys say, yeah, I used the drug before. What kind of drugs? And then they say, aspirin. No, that's not kind of drugs. Because in a refugee camp, those kind of prohibited drugs are not available at the refugee camp most of the time. So those kind of background check, you know somebody who killed somebody, have you used gun before, something like that. And after that, I was given a letter, and then the cultural orientation. You saw in the clips where they show you the eyes. They say the United States is better called like this. That's true, but that's not true. California is not called like that. Arizona is not called like that. So maybe Buffalo. Yeah. But that's the picture that they kind of tell us, and the idea that the U.S. is a wonderful country. You're going to work, you're going to make money, you're going to buy a car, you're going to have a good house, all those beautiful things that's all the refugees here when they are out overseas. That's true. In this country, you can get whatever you want, but one thing, you really need to work hard to get a good car, to get a good money to buy a house. They don't just come from blue. So I was so excited to come here, and so do many people who were authorized to come here, about 3,800. So I was so happy. I'm going to the US, I'm going to go to school, I will do this, so happy. But part of me also, and I think the other guys, I was worried. I said, I'm going to this country. My English is not good. I know nobody over there. How am I going to survive? How am I going to live? Are they going to welcome me as their own, as a part of their culture? How am I going to live? So it was something that struggled inside me. In high school, we read about Martin Luther King, the civil rights, and how black people are treated. And I was wondering, if they treat their own black people like that, what about somebody who is really very dark? How are they going to treat that person? It was like, but in the refugee camp, you say, okay, let me go and see if that's going to happen. If maybe I can come back in the refugee camp. So the immigration, during those interviews, they let you sign something. Say, when you go to US, are you willing to pay $800 to pay the government back $840 for your ticket, one-way ticket to the US, and you sign it. You sign it. They're going to come after you later on when you come here. They know where you are. You have to pay it back. So we prepared. They arranged the flight. We came from Nairobi to Amsterdam. That was actually Amsterdam airport was kind of a little introduction to what we really don't know. We went to the bathroom, and then we went, and then the bathroom. The water ran away by themselves. You didn't even touch it. It was how it does by itself. It goes. And it was becoming, and then at the airport, they took her to the restaurant. And then spaghetti. Say, well, yes, try spaghetti, is good. And then spaghetti like, this is the guys who used to eat beans and corn and spaghetti, but okay. And then we came to JF Kennedy. That was introduced to the US. You saw the guys in the movie, they have that bag. That's IOM bag. There's nothing there except immigration paperwork. And they told it, don't open it. Hold it like this, don't lose it, don't open it. I say, okay. What is there actually? Don't open it, don't lose it. What is in that one? And if I open it, I'll be in trouble. So when we came to the airport, the immigration people, they take can I see their bag? Take it back. Open it, take what they want, that you sign something, say, okay, you go. And when you get out, there was somebody waiting for you with your name. Because the immigration people have already made arrangement. So there was somebody waiting for us. He said, come here, follow me. And then we follow him. He didn't even talk to us that you guys are going here, my name is this one. He was a poor customer services. So he took us to the terminal. He said, sit over there. And then he sat on the other chair, doing his own thing. And then it was time to board the plane. He said, okay, you go in the line. So we went to the line, and we find ourselves sitting in the plane. And then some announcements were made. We were not sure what was it because English was not that good. The plane took off for 6 hours. Somehow say we thought we were going back to the refugee camp. For 6 hours, and then it's in California, San Jose. It landed over there, and we came out. Okay, it looked different. It might be another place. And then there was people from Catholic charities. They were waiting for us. Said, Deng Jongkuch arrived. Okay, there. Welcome to San Jose. So they took us into the van. They said, we are taking you to your house. There were 8 of us. They ran a house for us. So we went there. He parked a car. Well, while we were driving in the van, I was amazed about what is going on outside. My eyes was constantly looking, and some other guy too at the window, about the light on the street going in a good line and tall building. It was an amazing thing. But while we are watching at the window, the driver keeps stopping in the middle of the road. Stop. And then one of the guys said, why you keep stopping in the middle of the road? Why those cars stop too? I say, no, you see that light? The red one? Yeah. If it turns green, we go. It's blue. If it turns green, we go. It's red, we stop. That's a straight line. Oh, how do they know? How do they know that it's our time to go, to time of those people? It was something real amazing, but it was 9 p.m. And then we came to our house. our house. And then these are the things I call mysteries. They were, at that time, they were mysteries, these guys. We came, and then the guy did. And you see light coming from there, from the kitchen, and from back there. A light pop up by a click of hand, like this. In a refugee camp, we don't have electricity. And then he showed us our kitchen. This is your kitchen. This is a stove. You light it like this, the fire will come and you cook your food here. This is your fridge. An idea of fire coming from just click of hand. We used to cook in a refugee camp by firewood. You have to actually put the fire, wood together, put a fire, and then you have a fire. But a fire, a light just came up. It was a cultural shock. And then the vacuum was amazing too. Put a vacuum and say, it's clean over there. It was so exciting. But what came later on, what I call the real America, began to kick in. 3 months. 3 months, we were given cultural orientation by Catholic charities. Say, if you go for a job, make sure you smile. Make sure you shake hands and say thank you, all this kind of thing. I say, okay. We were okay. We began to gain weight, nice clothes, so we were ready for work because we want to work, make some money, send some money to some friends. So I find they got me a job. Excuse my accent. They got me a job at a place called Paterborn Kids. Paterborn Kids. Oh, I was a stock person. They give me walkie-talkie. I was back there. When the customers come and they're looking for something, they call me. One thing, my accent doesn't get through well. Number two, their accent too, on the floor, doesn't get to my ear. But the magic thing was, I didn't know anything in that store. Everything was new to me. They asked me, then can you get us a red gingham Sabrina basket liner? A red gingham Sabrina basket liner. I have no idea. I know basket. I know basket, but there is this big basket, and there is this basket, and there is this basket. Which one? I have no idea about Sabrina. And then they say, Deng, we need a set of red Carolina chairs for the kid. Carolina, I know chair, there's this chair, there's small chair, but they say Carolina chair. I know what is red. It becomes so hard. Then can you bring baby bumper? I never slept in baby bumper before. I never saw somebody sleeping in the baby bumper before. So my job becomes so hard. I become frustrated with my job, and I thought I'm going to quit, but I said, okay, let me hold on a little bit until the manager become frustrated too. So she called me into her office. And this is very important for you teachers, how one person can make a difference in somebody's life. She called me into the office. I said, Deng, we saw that you are not performing to the expectation. She put it in a nice language. So what is going on? How can I help you? I said, to be honest with you, I was waiting to talk to you. I'm very frustrated, but my English was not that good, so I have to do the way I'm saying it. It's not the way I said it for some reason. So, why? I said, all these things are new to me. I have no idea about these things. So, and I'm very frustrated too. She said, where did you come from? I told her I came from a refugee camp in northern Kenya. Have been in refugee camp for 14 years, and this is my first time to really know this, to come have interaction with these things. I was ready. I thought she was going to fire me. But what she did, she said, okay, make sure you learn these things. I'm going to keep you. I say, okay, thank you. What she did, she reduced my hours, part-time. That was okay with me. Instead of being fired and look for another job, I appreciate that she kept me for part-time. But my money, the money that I was getting, were not enough to pay my rent. I have nobody to look after. The Catholic charities were not there to be even consulted. They were done with you. You are like other American. You have to deal with America. The real America becomes so difficult. Couldn't pay my rent because we were Sudanese together. So if I am short this month, my friend will pay it. It's not like me, you pay and I pay. No, we pay our rent together. We put our money for food together. That's how we make it. I didn't have enough food for lunch. It becomes so difficult. I want to quit. But I say, okay, if I quit this job, because I was working in the mall, Macy's looked the same. Gap store, it looked the same to me. Everything in the mall, look, I have no idea about those things. I go to McDonald's, I say, give me number 1. Next day, if I feel embarrassed, I say, yeah, give me number 4. So I say, no, I'm not going to quit. Since this woman has been so generous to keep me, I will utilize that. I will make sure I learn. So whenever the season comes, they have catalog ahead of time, store catalogs. So I take the store catalogs home, read it, start SKU by SKU number, the color, the lampshade, all these things become, and when I come to store, I go to my bag, I try to match and see this is what it is, so it's here, so when they need it, I will come to this place. Like that, I become a master of the whole store after 2 years. I begin to train people. If they don't understand my accent, I have to repeat it. I was not embarrassed about that. So after 2 years or 3 years, I become so good. I become confident, say, okay, I need to go to school. And what happened when I file my taxes? And then they say, I made this money, but they are not in the bank. I say, how can I do this? Keep working, and there's no money at the end of the year? I need to go to school. So I start going to school, the Anza Community College. They give me a placement test. I did well in math and science, but I didn't do well in the English part. So they placed me in a little good classes, college classes, math, science, but I was placed a little bit higher, ESL classes. So I start taking my classes. I failed some classes. I struggled with my English writing, but I repeat them with help of some teachers and some not good teachers also. So, and one of the classes was so difficult for me because I was working from midnight to 8 in the morning, and then I take my bike, train station, get home about 9 or 9:30, take a shower, go to bed. At 2 p.m., I do the same thing. I go to school, spend time at school, and then from school to work over there. So most of the time I was doing my homework at either bus station or in train or during lunch time at work. I graduate from the Anza Community College with a associate degree. So I transfer to San Jose State. I get accepted at San Jose State. I met wonderful people that support me to advance myself. And that's why you guys are so important. You can make life out of somebody. You can. So I graduated and I went ahead and get my master's degree in public health. So, but the question is, I start thinking about my family. My mom, my dad, where they are. So I saved my money from my security job. In 2005, I decided to go back home to go and look for my dad and my mom. So I went to Kenya, to South Sudan, another town, They say, oh, your village is about 6 hours by walking. I say, okay, I walked before, so it was not a big deal. But after 5 years in the U.S., I kind of, not really, but not really. So I managed. We get there at 9 p.m. in my village. So we asked a family that we find along the pathway. They say, oh, that hurt. The other one, number 3, is your family. Your dad and your mom are there. That was the first time I heard that good news, that my dad and my mom are there. So I was a bit excited to see them. So I came. What happened? My grandma, somebody that I was looking to see, just died one day, and then I came. She just died like yesterday, and I came today. And I didn't know that she died. So I came there, people were mourning for the death of my grandma, around, comforting my family. She was a little bit, I think she was old. Because the time I left, she was old, a little bit. So, but I was hoping to see her, because I was so close to her at that time. So people were mourning for her death. I came, and then I introduced myself, my name, my last name, and tried to make sure people understand who is this person. So people begin to come close to me. Say, oh, are you Deng? Oh, Deng is here, and Deng is here. So I came, and then my mom was cooking over there. She came, say, are you my son? I said, yeah. I'm trying to see her face, but I couldn't see because it's so dark, there's no light. And she tried to see, she couldn't believe. So she went ahead, and she was running around like getting crazy after 18 years. So she came with a fire and let in a glass of fire and hold it like this. If she can see something here, she couldn't. And from that point, I began to realize that this woman is acting this way among the other women. Probably this is my mom. Yeah, because she was acting different. So she went ahead and came, say, oh, okay, if you are my son, what was the nickname that I gave you? That when you were little? I say Makwal, that was my last nickname. From that point, she just jammed on me, pulled me up, and hugged me. You know the mothers, what they do. So, and me being a big man too, holding my mom, we cry, and it was so very exciting. It was very exciting for me and for her, and the whole village was there and celebrating. Oh, Deng is here, and those women who miss family, who didn't have their children. Some of them begin, oh, they want to know from me if their kids were with me. So people were so happy. And then I began to ask those whom I know, where are they? And all. I said, where is my grandma? I want to see my grandma. They told, oh, she just died yesterday. I was so sad. But they were celebrating my coming. So it was a mixed kind of thing. So I began to walk around in the village. And this picture, here is a classroom. This is a mud wall, has collapsed here, and this one is a dirt bench. And these are kids learning. So I went there, walk around, and said, yeah. I wasn't surprised because this is South Sudan, and the country has been in war for the last 30 years, and everything in the village was destroyed. The school was there, the clinic was there before I left. They were destroyed during the wartime. And this is a class, this is the class. This one and this one at the back here. So I wasn't concerned, I was concerned, but I wasn't surprised. But what caught my attention is this girl. She's the only one among the boys here going to school under that hut. I began to learn during my studies that if you want to really develop a society, women, especially in our culture today, women are the backbone of every single family, regardless of where this woman is located. Educated women are likely to send their children to school. They are likely to take their children to the hospital when their children are sick. We men sometimes, if you feel something, we say, okay, I'm going to go next time. But women, if they feel something in their bodies or their children, they rush to the hospital. That's who they are. So I say, and especially in our community where it's torn by civil war and husbands are fighting and they become traumatized, drinking alcohol most of the time, who's taking care of the family? It's women are taking care of the family. So that one caught my attention seriously, because a lot of girls, what they are doing in the village, they are pounding the grain with their mom all the time. And then the boys are looking after cows and goats. Goats and cows, sometimes they take care of themselves, right? They know how to go and eat. But girls, they go walk for miles to get water to home. So I came back to the U.S. very heavy-hearted. My heart was so broken. And I feel energized also. I feel challenged to do something. But I was going to school full-time, work full-time. My English was not that good. I have no connection to whatever to do anything. So, but part of me say, you can do something. Then one day, I said, there's nothing I can do to change the life over there. But at least I can tell the history of this young girl with people in the village and my life being a refugee. There are thousands of refugees all over the world. At least I can represent those people who are not here. Actually, that's what started my talking. So I put my PowerPoint together, and I talked to my teacher. I say, I want to do a presentation on my trip to South Sudan. So I slide after slide. At the end of my presentation, question and answer, one of the students asked me, Tim, what can we do to help in South Sudan? That's a very common question people ask. And they feel they want to do something, but how can they do it? I told them, right now I'm very busy with classes and work. I have no mission of doing something over there. But if I have to do something, we need to buy a grinding machine, a grinding mill that can grind a grain, make them into a flour, so that girls have enough time to go to school. I thought that is a shippable project. It is meaningful. It can help girls to go to school. So the student came, donated some money to me, and then I went home. There were $200. $200 is not that enough to buy a grinding machine. So, but they give me kind of a boost in my system to keep going. Say, then keep going. So I went to another teacher. I went to another class. I raised $4,500. I bought a grinding machine. I took it back to the village. It was the only machine in the village in 2006. I came back and showed the presentation about the grinding machine and how people are lining up to get their grain grinded. The students become so excited. Saying, what can we do? What can we do to help? What is the next project? I told them the next project is to build a school. You see, the classes are this one. I said, oh yeah, that's a good idea. And they come with their money. The student doesn't have money, a little bit, but I knew this is a big project. So I went home with money, but I thought about it. So I went to my doctor during the appointment. You know, doctors, they don't talk about certain things when they have a patient in their face. But I was open to break some barriers. So I say, after a consultation, I say, oh, no, doctor, you know, I want to build a school in my village. How can I do that? Oh, he told me, oh, I know somebody can help you with that. So give me a call tomorrow. So he connected me with this lady in California who was running a big tax company. She helped me form a non-profit organization called Impact a Village. We formed that organization in 2008, and then we began to do fundraising. I raised about $35,000. In 1 year, I built these classes. This building, it has 5 classes. So when I went back last year, This building now houses 470 kids. And some of them are still under a tree because we have from first grade to 8th grade in that school, and they cannot accommodate them. So when I went back, I said, then can you help us build another building? I say, okay, I'm going to think about that, but I don't know if, because now I have my wife and my kids, and I have a job that I'm doing, but it doesn't mean we cannot do it. So now I'm working for a non-profit organization called Partners in Compassionate Care. It was an organization that was set up by somebody who sponsored 5 lost boys and adopt them into his family. So he feel a call to go and help in South Sudan. He formed this organization. They built a hospital in South Sudan close to my village. So they hired me in 2011 to go and run the hospital as administrator for 2 years. I came back again. They hired me again because I think they like me. So now I'm their new executive director for that organization. It's a very small organization, but they are doing a wonderful thing over there. Their money comes from local donations, small donation. But our big gift was X-ray machine from Spectrum Health. They gave us a brand new X-ray machine. We shipped it to the hospital. It is the only hospital in an area that has 1.5 million people, and it's impacting life. The ultrasound is a magic. So that's, if you are interested in a statistic, these are the statistics of South Sudan. 55 years. If you are 55, you are too old in South Sudan, and probably a lot of people doesn't live to see that age. But what is, all these are important, but maternal mortality ratio in South Sudan, a lot of women are dying in their birth, in childbearing time, when they are pregnant, when they are delivered, a lot of women are dying because there's no system that support their condition. Number 2, there is a traditional belief that a grandma will deliver a better baby. So this is conflicting. Even though we are there, the hospital can do surgeries, can do C-section. Grandma tried to deliver the baby at home. First, if it is successful, that's fine. It becomes complicated. Now they bring it to the hospital. It might be too late to do anything. And it happened one time. They brought a lady in on Saturday, and this woman was she was ready to give birth, but the baby cannot come out. She break the water, but the doctor was not there on weekend. We have only one doctor. He went to another town called Juba, which is the capital city, for a weekend, and this is an emergency. We don't have a car. Right now, the hospital doesn't have a car to move around to take her to another town, which is about 35 miles from the hospital. So I went there, and the nurses doesn't know how to do surgeries. Tried to give me some medication, it didn't work. So they say, the best thing to do is to take this woman to the hospital. And you can see the head of the baby is almost being delivered for 35 miles. So what broke my heart, if I was not in this country, I would take that one maybe a little bit normal. But I saw in this country, in 3 minutes, if it is in the US here, this woman could have been in the hospital in 3 minutes with ambulance, and the doctors will be ready to do surgeries right away. It will not even take 10. I know that. My brain shifted to the US. I say, if this is US, this is not a big deal. But this woman, the baby, they're probably going to die because there's no services. But there's nothing we can do. So her relative kind of helped her to walk, but she couldn't walk because she has been in labor for a very long time. So a lot of bodies swell. So what they did, they took a blanket, lay a blanket, put wood into the blanket, and she lay up in the blanket, and they carried her for 35 miles to Bor Hospital. Luckily enough, she survived. She reached there, the baby will survive. They did a C-section, they removed the baby. After 3 weeks, she came to the hospital for immunization. I was so happy for that. I was so happy. But there's thousands of women who are dying like that. So we don't have a hospital, we don't have an ambulance at the hospital because we couldn't raise enough money to put into the ambulance. The chairman of the board right now, he went to Dubai to meet another American businessman over there to see if he can donate an ambulance for us. So that's the need in the country. Illiteracy, these are the things you may be interested as teachers. 88% of women in my country doesn't know how to read and write, and men 63%. So it's this country just came out of war. It's a new country, 4 years old, but I think we would have done better than that. So these are more statistics. This is the area the hospital is located, Jonglei States. So there's a lot of needs. If you want to support me, support this organization, you can go to our website at pccsudan.org. Our email address is this one. But more importantly, the why I'm here, I'm not here to come and raise funds. I came here to inspire you. I have done this a lot to students, to teachers, because I really believe every one of the students that you are taking care of right now in your class, it could be somebody. It could be somebody that will change the world. We don't know. It could be Robert Jackson. You don't know, but it's there, that's true. When the teacher at the Answer Community College helped me with my essays, he doesn't know that I will be speaking to other teachers, but he was helping a human being. So that's my goal here, to come and inspire you, to be respectful to your student. I know there's some students, they come from poor background, they have issues at home that their parents deal with. All those kind are there. But at least you know that there's somebody who was in a refugee camp for 14 years, was able to come to the US and get a master's degree. So there is no point for any student here to not do well. And you are there, the engine of that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. On behalf of the Jackson Center, a little something for you.
Thank you.
Amazing story.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, that's so good.
That was amazing. I don't have any other words for it. So thank you very much, Deng. Thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you.
So let's give a big round of applause to our staff here at the Jackson Center who put this together. Now, there are many monuments to Robert H. Jackson. We have his grave in Frewsburg. Of course, we have the new federal courthouse in Buffalo, the ICC at The Hague. But the greatest monument will be our students. When Jackson saw injustice, he did something about it, and that's exactly what we want our students to do. This quote by Gerda Weissman Klein has always been very meaningful to me. And Gerda Klein is a Holocaust survivor who wrote All About My Life, and she lived in Kenmore, New York. And I saw her a couple of years ago, and she was asked, it was a big crowd of 1,000, there was an interviewer, what the most beautiful place in the world was. And she thought for a second and said, Buffalo, New York. So, I was cheering, the crowd was outraged, but she, she explained that this is when she realized she was free, and this is when she really felt freedom. So Gerda Klein said, "Teachers are the lodestar. I believe they should be elevated above all others." Thank you all for what you do, and thanks so much for coming today.